So here we are, the iPhone 12, 12 Pro Max, 12 all the 12s has been announced from Apple, and we knew most of what was announced. Maybe one or two surprises, but for the most part, we knew everything. Now, a lot of you in my comments have already been asking this question, and I knew that I'd have to make a video about this. Should you upgrade to the iPhone 12 or 12 Pro or any of the 12s? There are some different answers depending on what your situation is. I'll try to go over most of those here today, but of course, it's really just up to you and your budget. There are other situations where you might want to consider upgrading. I'm going to try to go over as many of those as I can, as I always do, right after this.
This is, you listening to Travis.
What up, players? Welcome back. And for all you new people, welcome. My name is Travis and I do tech videos every single week and have a blast doing them. If that sounds like fun to you, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Anything I talk about will be in the description below. But for now, let's just get into the video. So should you upgrade your iPhone or Android phone to the new iPhone 12, 12 Pro, 12 Pro Max, all those other things? Well, this depends on a couple of things. Number one, if you have the budget for it, I'm just going to assume you do, otherwise we shouldn't be having this conversation right now. Then there's a couple scenarios where it actually would make sense, and then some others where it won't. Because for me, looking at upgrading to a new phone, I want to feel the difference. I want to feel the performance difference and see different cool features that maybe I didn't have before. And if it's just an incremental upgrade, it's just not generally worth it. So basically, I'm going to talk to all of you holding on to that iPhone 11, 11 Pro Max, and 11. This is probably not the upgrade cycle for you. You can, of course, get one or two additional upgrades that you will get by getting the newer phones. But quite frankly, and in my opinion, it's just not worth it. This is not the year. If you're on the iPhone XS, this is kind of, I'm on the fence about that. But if you're on the iPhone 10 or before, which means the iPhone 10, 7, all the ones before, this could be your year. Now, there are a couple of things you want to check to make sure that it actually makes sense for you to upgrade. There will be some options for carriers and of course even Apple themselves to allow you to trade in phones and get some credit for it. Always look if your phone is completely paid off to see if you can sell it locally because it's a much faster way to get cash. You can use something like swappa.com as well and check the current prices, but I'm gonna tell you right now, lots of people are gonna be dumping their older iPhones right around now, which means you're not gonna get much for your phone. Now, if you are on one of those older iPhones, like the iPhone 10, 8, 7, 6, whatever, one of the things you will absolutely be gaining is a much better camera system. You see, since those phones have come out, the cameras are substantially better than those older generation iPhones. You're probably used to the pictures and stuff you've been able to get out of your iPhone by now, but you are really about to be shocked with some of the new upgrades, and especially with the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro, some of the cool things you'll get from that are great. But what's interesting is you don't have night vision. And it's pretty great. This is something that Apple added a while back, and it's really a fantastic change. Some of those grainy shots you used to take when you were outside at night, when you used to be able to do that sort of thing, completely disappear. You have some really great photo capabilities on these newer phones. So if you're into taking low light photos, 100%, this is a great reason to upgrade. Now let's be clear about something. If you're only uploading these things to like Instagram and Twitter and stuff, where the full quality isn't necessarily being seen at all times, then this is kind of a toss-up, because while there will be a slight improvement in quality, it's harder to see on most of these apps that compress the hell out of the picture and video. Having said that, generally speaking, a very safe bet if you're wanting a better camera, especially a selfie cam and low light camera footage, and especially the video footage. The iPhone 11, 11 Pro did amazing things for mobile video, and the 12 is going to be no exception to that. Definitely worth the upgrade. We actually talked a little bit about this on GadgetCast, my podcast with Greg from Greg's Gadgets. I'll leave a link for that in the description below. You can go check out that full conversation where we break down exactly where in the iPhone listing of phones you should actually consider upgrading to the iPhone 12, 12 Pro, and all the rest. Also, don't forget you get a couple of more lenses on these phones than you would have in previous phones, especially if you go for the Pro. A wide angle, which if you've had like an iPhone XR or even like an iPhone 7, you have no idea how amazing a wide angle lens can be. I highly recommend it. Again, if you take a lot of pictures with your phone, this is probably the generation. Another maybe obvious or not so obvious thing is the additional years of support you'll get with the iPhone 12 series of phones. Of course, if you have an existing iPhone 7, 8, or whatever, you're still getting the updates. You're still getting iOS 14 and such. But in a couple of years, that's probably going to end. Upgrading now could make sense, especially if you just want to sit and relax on a new phone for a while. If you're still on your iPhone 7, you've been sitting chilling on that phone for a while, so the 12 makes a lot of sense from that standpoint. Battery life also will be improved. Let's talk a little bit about battery life, as I'm sure if you have an older phone, you've noticed your battery life isn't all that great. And if you're on an iPhone, you can check what the battery percentage is left on your phone as far as the actual capacity of your battery. If you look at these steps right here, you'll notice that this particular phone that I'm using, the iPhone 11 Pro Max, has 95% total capacity, which means it's actually not 100% of the capacity when I bought it. Yours is likely much lower. If yours is around 80%, you have an option if you don't want to upgrade, and I highly suggest you take advantage of it. You can either send in, or probably a better deal, go into an Apple store and get it replaced for as low as $50 all the way up to $70, depending on which phone you have. I highly recommend this as a cheap alternative to buying a brand new phone altogether. Having said that, the battery life on these newer phones have been pretty amazing, and even at full capacity, some of the older phones can't hold a match to these newer phones. Some of you have not been wanting to upgrade because the smaller version of these phones have only been as low as 5.8 with the 11 Pro from last year. Well, you got the iPhone mini now, so if you like a much smaller phone, again, this is the year for you. Maybe you've been waiting because you think these phones are too big, and maybe you thought the SE earlier this year is too small. Well, iPhone 12 has you covered. If you're switching carriers here in the US and sometimes overseas, there will be options and opportunities to get free phones. So if you're already considering switching a carrier, wait a little bit. It won't take that long, especially around Black Friday, Cyber Monday, to see these deals where you can buy one and, generally speaking, get one, especially if you're porting over all of your family or even just one number over to a carrier. These things should not be overlooked. A lot of times you're getting an absolutely free phone, so why wouldn't you, especially when it's brand new? Now, if you're on an Android phone and you're thinking of switching to iPhone for the first time this year, I've actually gotten this question a lot. I've done a video on this, and I'll leave a link in the description below and in the end screen. There's a lot of complications to try to walk through when you're going from Android to iOS. It's a big deal, so watch that video. Having said that, let me give you some of the 30,000-foot view of that. You're going to be into the ecosystem, which basically means everything integrates well. So in order to really maximize your iOS experience, you just need to buy more Apple stuff. I mean, iPhones, iPads, Apple Watches, Apple TV, like, it gets better every time you buy something, which I know kind of sucks. You don't want to have to buy more things, but trust me, it's worth it. As of right now, the operating system updates are superior to Android. They just are. You get them more often, and you get them for longer periods of time, and you get them simultaneously, unlike Android, where one manufacturer might get the newest Android operating system, and then 3 months later, maybe your phone gets it or whatever. There's a whole mess on Android side of things. They need to clean that up. So that is one benefit. You get the update the same time everyone else does. And if you're in the United States, this is an easy one. It's the #1 phone in America. It sells more here. So undoubtedly you have lots of friends with an iPhone. And with that comes things like iMessage, emojis, all the craziness that people seem to like when they get an iPhone. So that makes a huge difference. I will tell you, since I switched over last year, I found a lot of my friends have iPhones, and it's just a cooler experience all around. But what do you think? Are you buying an iPhone 12, 12 Pro, 12 Pro Mini, whatever the heck? Are you buying any of the iPhone 12s? Leave a comment below and we'll talk about it. Also, here's some of those videos I talked about earlier. Check those out while you're here. And I will be making a video very soon about if you should even buy an iPhone 12, 12 Pro, 12 Pro Max. Peace and love.